This is a good memories right here of the pool. We used to be swimming in this thing fucking 5 days, 7 days a week in the summertime. The pool. Dad pretty much lives in poverty. You know, all he does is golf. Besides golf, he doesn't spend money on anything. You know, he buys the cheapest gas he can find. He buys the cheapest groceries he can find. He buys everything on sale. He never buys new clothes for himself. You know, he drives pretty much a piece of shit car that needs work. That's probably going to break down one of these days. He hasn't got it fixed. You know.
That's a whole different kind of trumpet player. How so?
My grief has been expressed in more ways than I can think about. Can even remember, because you don't live in grief easily. You want to get away from it. You want it to end. And I kept looking for that magic day when it'd be over.
When it was I don't remember what day of the week it was. Me and Christina, we were cleaning the kitchen. I was 9, she was 11. We were cleaning the kitchen. I remember she was washing the dishes and I was drying them. So when she finished washing them, I still had a bunch to dry, so I'm drying the dishes. Christina comes down 5 minutes later screaming and crying, just hysterical, that she doesn't know if it's a joke, she doesn't know what's going on. And I'm like, what the hell, what are you talking about? And she's like, it's Brian. So I ran upstairs with her, and Brian was hanging right here. You can still see the hole where he had taken a screw to hang up a bike from. You screw it in and it's a hook. He put one of those in there and attached a rope to it with a noose, and he hung himself right here. And then pretty much after that, Mom didn't move. I don't even know how long, was it a month that she just sat on that couch? And do you remember that going on? You don't remember any of that? I remember she wouldn't even move. She wouldn't eat. They had to give her soup and force feed her soup down her throat. I remember we would just sit there next to her and cry with her and just for at least a month. I don't know how fast Dad, but I know she didn't move, wouldn't talk, wouldn't eat. She was just in shock. We all were,
I tried everything. You can't sleep at night, and you don't want to get up in the morning when you finally do go to sleep. You don't want to face the next day, because it's you get to the point where they're all the same.
I know I have issues and problems and things in my life, but I don't have a big enough issue with any of my issues to really deal with them. It's like, I'll live with them, whatever. And slowly but surely there's some things that I've gotten over on my own that I just think, I was really rebellious and really didn't give a fuck about anything for a long time. Just didn't care. What's the point? A person that I thought meant the world to me just took his own life. Why should I go through all these steps and motions to end up at a place where I don't want to be, and hate it? So that's when I went through all the, doing drugs and running amok and hanging out with unsavory characters, but everything stopped. Everything stopped. I remember we used to, family trips and skiing and the river and all that shit. Everything stopped for 10 years at least. We didn't do shit. We would meet on Christmas. But other than that, there was nothing, there was no, let's do this or do that. Everything pretty much shut down. Dad fucking pretty much gave up on the business after, I think he pretty much gave up on it right when that happened, He still worked there, but, I'm pretty sure it's hard to put your heart into anything when it's been ripped out of your chest. You don't put your whole everything into anything.
The only thing is that I got a piece of advice from my dad. He said, when I picked him up, when he came for the funeral, and he says, you will never get over this. I didn't know what he meant. And I thought, now I know what he meant. He grieved my brother all of his life. And so what he was really saying to me, it's going to be with you the rest of your life, so live with it. That's basically what he's saying. And had I done that, and I just said, if I just said, it's always going to be there, then I'd probably done something different.
I don't think anybody's really forgot about Brian. You know, I still think about him a lot. I still think about all the things he could have been or could have done. All the things he could have helped me do. You know, as a brother, things we could have done together. You know.